Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while, but we do have something very special today, and that is the GMC Sierra AT4X. But this is the AEV edition, which gives you a bunch of different off-road stuff added to the already premium AT4X. And I think it looks absolutely fantastic in this dark red color with the black graphics around it. And I just wanted to put my truck next to it because I want to hear your opinion. Which one do you think looks better? The Ram Rebel that we have right here, this is a 2020, or the 2023 GMC Sierra AT4x AEV. The thing that I think makes the Rebel look a lot better are the fact that we have 35s on the Ram and we have only 33s on the AEV, and that's something that I wish GMC would have switched up for specifically the AEV edition, because I think these proportions, the overall package of the Sierra 1500 fits with 35-inch tires. Just have them a little 2 inches taller than this. But let's have a look at the front end and let's see what's going on here, what's different with the AEV edition. Of course, you get this steel bumper up front with the AEV logo. In here you have the tow hooks, you have the fog light right there, and underneath you do have 5 different skid plates in different positions, so you don't have to worry about scratching anything when you go off-road, and that's what this was of course built for. Under the hood you have a 6.2 liter V8 with 420 horsepower. Not bad. I have 400 in my Rebel. And also keep in mind that the Rebel, the base price for the Rebel is 60 grand, while the base price for the AT4X AEV is 90 grand. So let's move on to the side view here. Let's have a look at these wheels and tire setup that we have for the AEV. Usually I'm not a huge fan of black wheels, but these the functionality look of these wheels, the Salta wheels, they just look fantastic. You also have AEV embossed in the side of the rim here, looking fantastic as well. So in this case, I actually prefer to have it in black because it feels right for this specific truck. Now zooming out so you can get a full view of this side view. What I love about the side view of the new GMCs ever since they facelifted it is that they have a very sharp shoulder line. This was actually there also on the pre-facelift of the 2022 model, but the big changes of course happened in the front end, where I think everything looks so much better when it comes to the line flow of this design, because now we have a framing for where the C-shaped headlights or daytime run lights, they run down here and creating a nice framing for the entire front end graphics. In the previous one, the pre-facelift, this area to me looked a little too busy for me, so I'm glad that they cleaned this up by having these new graphics. And you can also see that we have the black grille trim in the front end for the AT4X, and this rock slider right here is also a GMC product. This is not the AEV edition specific, so you're gonna get this if you want with the regular AT4X as well. Moving further back, let's have a look at some of the features back here. First of all, you have the black graphics going around the tailgate right here. This is specific for the AT4X AEV edition. I do like that it's matte black. Not sure how easy it's going to be to clean though, but you also have the logo down here. I really like the AEV logo, American Expedition Vehicles, and then you have this bison or a buffalo down here. So this tailgate, as you know, is the multi-folding tailgate. You have the top part and you can also fold down the entire piece like a regular tailgate. In here you have a factory spray in bed liner with a 12-volt outlet right there if you want to hook something out when you're out camping. You also have, hopefully you can see that, the AT4X embossed in the front end of the bed. I think that looks really cool. You also have your handle here if you want to step up in the bed more easily. So let's close this up. One option that I wish that this AEV had, which I know is possible to get, and that is the Borla exhaust. Because if you have a 6.2 liter V8 up front, I think you want to do it justice by having it sound really good. This sounds a little bit too tame for me, so that's definitely an option that I would pick for my AT4X AEV edition. So with that said, let's have a look at the interior and see what's going on here, because the interior is one of the big changes with the facelift that happened compared to the pre-facelift. And I think these screens in here just look fantastic. And this is the intro screen that you have. You have all those mountains going on there. Then you have GMC popping up in the 13.4 inch screen in the middle. This is a 12.3 inch gauge cluster, fully digital. It's fired up. So have a look at this start button here. Pretty interesting design for the start button itself. I don't think I've ever seen this type of design for a start button. Then you have the, as I said, 12.3-inch gauge cluster, fully customizable. I'm going to show that in just a minute. Then you have the 13.4-inch infotainment screen, which looks pretty well integrated here in the interior itself. Up top, you have a 15-inch head-up display. I'm not sure if you can see that, but you can adjust all the settings for or the info and the position of the head-up display by using these buttons here. Hopefully you can see that it's pretty bright out, but you do have the angle when you go off-road, whether you're in 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, you can put whatever information you want up there, which I think is really cool. Now moving down to this gauge cluster, and this is one of my favorite gauge clusters I've seen in a truck, because there's so many things you can do. You can change the entire layout of the speedometer and the tachometer. Progressive, then we have digital down here. Let's see what that looks like. Pretty sweet. And then you have clean, which is, it totally wipes out everything else except for the speedometer. Personally, I prefer to have it in classic because you have the classic layout with the tachometer to the right and the speedometer to the left. And the center portion, you can also customize that. You can have each side show whatever you want. For example, you can have the drive mode, the compass, time and temp, tire pressure, and so on. I like to have it in time and temp, and then you can of course customize the lower gauges to be whatever you want as well. So pretty cool. This is what you want when you have a fully digital gauge cluster. Why not have the pixels move around when they are just pixels? It just makes sense to have it like that. So well done on the gauge cluster, GMC. Up here we have some very functional, easy to use vents. You instantly know where the air is going to blow by adjusting these. And I do like this infotainment screen as well. It doesn't feel like it's intruding on the otherwise very clean interior. It feels like it's decently integrated here. So we have a bunch of cameras. For example, we have 14 different cameras in this truck. For the rear end, you have the front end cameras and the top view for the rear end. And this is my favorite camera right here. Specifically, if you're going off-road, you want to know exactly where the wheels are. But it's not just for the rear end wheels. You also have this for the front end. So if you move around your wheels like this, you know exactly the positioning of the wheels, which I think is great. Then you have the trailer hook camera here as well, and the full, very crisp bed camera. I love this view as well. You can check that everything is secure in the bed while you're driving around before you set off. Up here, this is a feature that I always wish I had in my Rebel. You can see that we have the digital rear view mirror, and it's so sharp, so high resolution. It looks great. You can zoom in and out and do whatever you want with this camera, angle it up and down. I like to have it fully zoomed out so we get as wide of a field of view as possible. You have Wi-Fi hotspot and Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and all of that good stuff. Moving down to this area, another detail that I love in the interior here is that we have physical buttons and dials for the climate control settings. You have heated and cooled seats with these buttons right here. You have easily adjustable fan speed with 2 separate buttons for that function. I love that. And down here you have this array of buttons for the lane control. For the lane assist, you have the parking assist, the auto start and stop, and you have the folding of the tailgate, the hazard, traction control on and off. You have hill descent control, locking rear differential, and locking front and rear differential. So this is a proper off-road vehicle right here. This looks very nice as well. I know you've seen this many times before, but I just love the design of this thing. It feels sturdy to grip, and you also have very clear indications of what gear you're in here with a park button right next to it. Here's the trailer brake controls, and of course you have a couple of cup holders here with a bit of a storage here for a couple of markers and a big pen, and some more storage down here with a USB and a USB-C. Moving further back, this is where you have the wireless charging for your phone. And if we lift this up, you do have a pretty large storage compartment underneath the armrest with this tray to organize things even further. You also have more USB slots and a 12-volt household outlet right here, which I think is fantastic if you want to hook up a vacuum and clean the interior, for example. I do love this texture that we have in here on the seats. Look at this texture that we have on the sides of the seats. So it comes back all over this interior. In the center armrest, we also have the AT4x logo in the backrest and the AEV logo up top in the headrest, and I like how they did this because it makes the truck feel just a little bit more special. Moving on to the side of the steering wheel, you have the selection for the 4-wheel drive and two-wheel drive settings. You also have the drive modes right here. So you have normal, you have off-road, or you have terrain. And to the right of that, you have all the settings for the light controls. You can see that we have a specific button for the cargo lamps as well, which I think is fantastic. Last but not least, up here in the front end, you do have 2 glove compartments. You have one up top, and you have have the bigger one down low. So with that said, let's have a look at the back seat and the spacing back there. We can also talk a little bit about this door, because I think that the style that we have here, the design looks very industrial with a lot of horizontal and vertical lines, and this is what you want in a big truck like this. But you can see that the texture that we have on the seats comes back right here. I love that. And in the bottom we also have this red crisscross stitching going on here with the Bose speakers integrated well in the overall design of the door. So let's have a look at the back seat and what's going on here. Nothing too special. You do have a bunch of space back here. I like how they carved out this section. If you're very tall, you're still gonna have some headroom. Fold this down, you can see that we have 2 cup holders right here, and we also have the heated seat controls here. You have that in 3 different levels for both sides of the rear end. Very small, tiny, cute little vent right here with a couple more USB slots. And that's a quick little tour of the brand new 2023 GMC Sierra AT4x AEV edition. Let me know what you think about this. Do you like the color? Do you think they should have gone with 35-inch wheels for the tires? I personally do, and also a little bit more offset in the spacing for the wheels to have them sit flush with the bodywork. But overall, it's a fantastic looking truck, and it's definitely capable to get you wherever you want to go. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.